Hello folks, it's NEK Canoeist and I'm coming back to you today on my second part of using lanterns as a distress signal. My first episode was an experiment of doing the SOS signal with some kerosene lanterns, which proved to be a success. They just weren't a success on camera, but it was a success from a little over a half a mile away. And this is my second part where I'm going to be using kerosene lanterns. It's going to be a little bit different from the first episode. I'm not going to be doing a SOS signal as far as like doing the dots and dashes. I'm actually going to be simulating a distress call in a triangle method with the kerosene lanterns. Now this is a little bit of a stretch because if you're out in the wild, you're not obviously going to have 3 kerosene lanterns floating around. So this is more of if there was a natural disaster and I was at my house, there was an earthquake or some sort of failure, catastrophic event, and I needed to do some emergency distress signal from my house. I could use these kerosene lanterns. I could use fire as well. Now I'm primarily focusing on the fact that the signal itself, not the method of using the kerosene lanterns. I'm just using the kerosene lanterns as an example of what I could do. Because I could obviously use them at my house, but I'm not going to be able to use them out in the field because I'm not going to be carrying 3 kerosene lanterns with me. So I'm going to set my lanterns up in a triangle, and we're going to get them lit later on this evening, and we're going to take a look at it and see what it looks like. And I'm just pretty much showing you folks another method of sending out a distress signal that's you can use in a situation that where it could be done by sight and not by being heard. And the key factor in this all is to remember 3. Just like the dots and dashes in the SOS signal, distress comes in 3s. So if you were going to do a distress signal and you were going to fire a gun, you would fire shots of 3. Same thing with the SOS. You would have 3 dots and then 3 dashes. So similar to what we're going to do tonight, we're going to have 3 lanterns set up in a triangle. Now if I was out in the wilderness, I could use 3 fires. Now, one thing that I did want to mention, that if there was a catastrophic event and I was hurt and I couldn't tend to fires and I was at my house or my location out to camp where I keep lanterns as well, I could set these up and they would go a long length of time. So the thing about the kerosene, as opposed to something, if there was a catastrophic event, if I had used up all my resources for electricity, let's say if all my batteries went out, anything to that matter, or let's say months went on end. I mean, we're getting really out there, but let's say a month went out on end and I could actually make my own fuel. These, I believe a couple of these have round wicks in them. But the primary thing is that a lot of these will burn up to 4 or 5 days. Some of them are 72 hours, some of them are 100 hours. I haven't done complete burns on them all. I actually did do, but I never kept a log of which ones burnt the most. So in a really bad situation, and if I was at my home, I could use these lanterns in a situation for a distress call by setting them up in a triangle, and I wouldn't have to tend to them like I would a fire. I would have to set up in a location close nearby my house in a proximity of, so I could actually, a plane could get a visual on me. So I think that's about it, folks. We're gonna wait till it turns dark, and then we're gonna go set these up. Now my triangle will be probably around 100 foot. These lanterns will be spaced about 100 feet from each other, and we'll get them lit and we'll take a look and see how effective it is. So once again, this is an experiment, but I think this is going to work well, and we're going to find out. Okay, folks, for today's experiment, I'm going to make my triangle in a big, large hayfield. Again, like my first experiment. Today, I'm actually going to put my lanterns, my 3 lanterns, on milk crates because I want to elevate them up off the ground for a visual. Now, the key to setting up these lanterns for this triangle would be elevation, and you want your lantern to be level. If you don't have it level, it's not going to burn properly. So you need to keep your lantern level, and you want as much elevation as you can. So the milk crate's not really high off the ground, but the grass is clipped in the hayfield, so I'll be able to get a good visual of it. But I would recommend using something larger. This is a small scale version of what I would use, but I would get a larger version of a branch to hang it off of and notch it, and actually tie it down with some paracord or something like that, because you don't want the wind to take it and blow it off, and you would lose your lantern. So this is just a small scale version of what I would do for setting up my lanterns in a triangle. So it's going to be a triangle no more than 100 feet in lengths per sides of the triangle, and I'm guessing mine's going to be around 70 feet. So we're going to go set it up, and we'll see how it looks later on this evening. Okay, folks, so I have a perimeter set up with 3 red traffic lanterns, and as you can see, I have one set up right there, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, the camera is not doing it any justice, but we have 3. That's lantern number 2, and I'm going to pivot around, and there's lantern number 3 set up. Now I have a triangle formed for a distress signal, and this seems to be pretty decent right now. So I'm gonna go back, and as you can see, we're getting a little glimmer off the back one with the camera, but they're quite bright. I actually think that this, with the aircraft flying over, that they would be able to pick this up in the right position if they were looking for you. Now, if they're not looking for you and you have a high-flying aircraft, I think I wouldn't bet the farm on it that they'll ever see this. But a low-flying aircraft that was looking for you, they would be able to see these 3 lanterns set up, and there's there right over there is the 3rd lantern. That's the furthest lantern away from me right now. So we have quite a perimeter. We're talking about, now you can see the one on the left as well, so we're out a little distance from these now, and we have a total of probably 70 feet and probably 60 feet as the smallest distance between the 2 lanterns. So we've got quite a triangle with these red lanterns right now. And the further I move away, obviously the camera is not picking up on it as well, but I'm zooming in and we can see the glimmer of the one lantern. So now I'm zooming back down and we'll look at the third lantern over there, and it's just a glimmer, but we have a good triangle setup. Like I said, I do believe an airplane would be able to pick these up coming up over the horizon, but it all depends on the angle of the aircraft, whether or not they would be able to see you. Now, any person that was walking along would be able to see this from a distance. Now, it's actually foggy right now, so our visibility is actually terrible in the field, but I do believe that this would work. If you had to have something set up for an extended period of time, that you weren't expecting a rescue for quite a long time, it would be easier to do this than to set up for fires. But like I said earlier, that would be only if I was at near my house and during a catastrophic event or something of that nature. I wouldn't be out in the wild with 3 kerosene lanterns. That wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. But so there you have it, folks. 3 lanterns set up. We're going to take a walk up to one, give everybody a little bit better idea. And you have a red Fresnel globe. And there's the third one. So I want to say thanks to everybody for coming along on this little trip, and we'll see you on the trail. Okay, folks, so I just came back for just a minute because I walked down the field. I wanted to really get a good distance on this all. And being that I'm walking down the field, and boy, these are really showing up quite incredible. So anybody on the ground would definitely be able to see this. And like I said, in an aircraft, I know that they would be able to see it too if they were low flying and searching for you. Incredible, just a few candle power, what it does. So with the red, it really stands out as well. It's just amazing. I gotta shut these down so we don't get distress